And okay, there we are. We are now recording, and welcome everyone to our last class on the cube of space, part 6. And this is the lower surface. So let me bring this over. So we can follow it as we go. This is going to disappear on me if I do this. So setting this up is such fun. Okay, there we are. We're all on one screen now. Yay. And there's a few. So we have 2 screens. All right, to begin. So you have left the upper part of the cube of space, and you now are going to be descending into the lower part, the below face, as we call it. And just, let me see. And so for each of you, this is a cube of space, a little cube. So those who haven't really looked at it, and what we're talking about is one of the sides of this face, and it's going to be the one on the bottom. As the master of light, you enter the final face of the cube of space by traveling through the magician at the center above face and coming out on the center below face through the high priestess. So here we have the high priestess in the center, and we're going to arrive on this face, which is actually at the bottom. You're going to arrive down through the bottom, right at the center. The Fool card is the axis which joins the cube from above to below. So from the above face, we travel along the Fool card. We travel to the high priestess. The master of light now begins the transformation of the lower self once and for all. The master fearlessly faces all remaining flaws, misgivings, doubts, and misunderstandings. This is also the master's final stay in a physical body. The high priestess, the master of darkness, in the center of the surface below. In part 5, we explored the letters of the Hebrew alphabet assigned to each of the tarot cards placed on the edges of the above face. Here we will look at the cards on the edges of the below face to find out what we must master in order to succeed in our journey and complete our return home. So here we start, and we will move down to this direction, and we will move around and then return back to the center. If all of this seems overwhelming, so much to learn, so much to remember, just be reassured that you already know all of this. Your inner self has forgotten nothing. Be aware that you don't go anywhere because you are everywhere. You've just forgotten. So I'll reiterate the Fool card here. That's you, the being within, the essential self, which is just about to step off a cliff and begin a journey into the abyss or earth or the third dimension, you could say. The one thing we've discussed when we discuss the Fool card is that the Fool goes nowhere. You go nowhere. You're always just where you are. It is our limited sight that thinks we go places, that we as the inner essence, this inner self, are always attached to all the other inner selves. We are all attached to each other through the mind of creation. So though the Fool appears to be falling off a cliff or stepping off a cliff, he's looking up. And in the tarot, looking up means to look within, to look at the inner self, the cause, because in the Kabbalah, the cause is always from within, the center of your being, and not your physical body, but the spiritual center of your body. So here you are, not going anywhere, about to have an adventure, the Fool. And the material mind cannot wrap itself around this. It has a little difficulty with this if it is only seeing the physical and thinks all there is all you see. And as we have discovered on our journey through the tarot cards, and here we are near the end, we find that that is actually just the case. We're right back at the beginning. And you don't have to memorize anything because you know all of this. You've just forgotten, which is why we have the High Priestess who reminds us of everything. The deeper part of your mind is perfectly familiar with this universal language of pictorial symbolism used in the tarot. By just looking at the cards, you are setting a foundation and evoking thoughts particular to that card. The tarot holds the keys to open the locks in your mind, and they will open one by one by one. It shows you the tools available which will make your journey a success. This is your hero's journey, not someone else's. When you reach a certain point, your teacher will arrive, but that point is different for each of us. As you clothe yourself in sincerity and compassion for yourself and compassion for others, your eyes will slowly open. Relax. Though a little scary at times, you will also have moments where you'll laugh out loud for the joy of this adventure. When you need something, ask for it. Shout out loud for it. This is a conversation that you must have with your creator. Demand from the cosmos what you need. You won't know how it'll arrive. That's usually when you start laughing, but you may be sure that it will be delivered in full by the Master of Darkness, the High Priestess. Let's explore this Master of Darkness, the symbol for our subconscious mind, and the side of the cube of space called below. So the High Priestess is here. The High Priestess is key 2, and among the meanings of the number 2 is subordination. Look at key 1, the Magician. He represents the objective or self-consciousness. So if you look at key 2 in relation to key 1, the figure in key 1 is engaged in controlling the powers of the subconscious mind. And these powers are always amenable to his suggestive influence. And we've brought this up continuously throughout the cards because, as we know, there are only 3 characters in this story. There are only 3 characters in this book. And it's how they interact that teaches us about ourselves. So we have superconscious mind. We have self-conscious mind, which is the directing mind, and we have subconscious mind, which is the receptive, creative mind. So though the subconscious mind and the conscious mind are equal in power, they are different in function. And we would not be able to exist in the 3-dimensional space without these 2 operating. And all 3 of them are inside you, nicely, I want to say, cuddled up and all in there ready for you to use. So you don't have to sit back and go, well, God did this to me and God did that to me. You created it all. And if you don't like it, shout about it. Fix this, do this. This person's ill. Here, fix them, take care of them. It's a very different way of approaching God. But your creator loves us. We have life, and he has given us our choice in life. which is willpower. So we get to choose every moment of the day what we want to do with our lives. And if we choose to be couch potatoes, that's our choice. He will give us all the beers and TV we want to see for the rest of our lives. And if we want to get out and do things, he'll give us healthy, happy bodies, and we'll get out and run around and have lives and children and families. You just got to get a grip on it and understand that you're in charge. And God loves you so much, he'll give you everything you want, even if you want to shoot yourself in the foot. He'll do it right there for you. So if you look at key 2 in relation to key 1, the figure in key 1 is engaged in controlling the powers of the subconscious mind. And these powers are always amenable to his suggestive influence. We're talking about a lot of power here. You have a solar system operating on this. So the important thing to remember at all times is to be careful about what you are suggesting to your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is represented by the garden in key 1. If you plant careless observations and incorrect reasoning in your garden, then you will be surrounded by weeds. If you've learned concentration, the focus of key 1, then you will be able to make your mental imagery clear and definite. Voila, the lilies and the roses. You will always get what you ask for, or what you let others ask for you. Be careful with that. Don't let anybody else run your life. So, and that's another thing. If you've learned concentration, okay, when I first joined this holy order, they handed me an orange when I walked in the door. And an orange on our website, this website, talks about the orange exercise and how it helps you to develop concentration. And then eventually the orange talks to you, which is really kind of cool. So we'll move on. But it is a very, very old concentration exercise that's been around for thousands of years. And because it's so simple. And it's just you and the orange. You don't have any interference from some other human telling you what to do. So with this ability to develop seed ideas, you will realize that the subconscious mind has perfect powers of deductive reasoning. Okay, let's understand that. So deductive reasoning starts with a premise and then works its way down to a conclusion. If the premise is inaccurate, then so will be the conclusion. The Hebrew double letter Gimel associated with this card means both peace and strife. Which would you rather have? What premises are you living by, everyone? One of the big underlying premises of many people on our planet is that all they see is all there is. And all the rest is either luck or they've made it and they've worked really hard. Now, one of the things about this is very positive in the sense that we have hands. We have grown with, we have hands. So we think we make everything. We have a mind that thinks. So we think we make everything by figuring things out. Well, there's another step which we've talked about, the Hierophant, the teacher card here, is that you don't have all the ideas, but all the ideas of creation are available to you. And with the Hanged Man card, where his hands are tied behind his back and he's at the state of illumination, he creates with just his mind. That's that walking on water thing that we're all working for. Eventually we can all walk on water and heal. And that's part and parcel of becoming a mystic, is also to be able to heal. So another aspect relating to the number 2 is the line, the extension of a point. The diameter of a circle, an extension of 2 directions, divides the circle into 2 parts, each a duplicate of the other. This ability to duplicate is referred to as memory, a basic function of subconsciousness. It keeps a perfect record of all experience and therefore has perfect memory. So that's your subconscious mind. We also have talked about it as the perfect delivery system. The high priestess has a scroll on her lap. So let me pull this up just a little bit. You can see her. And has a scroll on her lap of all the memories ever created. Right there. Through our personal subconscious mind, we have access to the universal supply of all material and can make it what we will. These memories are not just derived from our personality and its experiences, but includes all race experience on the planet. And you thought the information on the internet was amazing. Tap into this source. Wow. And the tarot teaches you just how to do that, or how to do just that. Google on steroids. And nobody's going to cut you out. You get all the information you want for asking. There's nobody up there saying, well, you can't have this information. You know how this is going on with all our social media, and people are, no. God gives you all the information you need. The High Priestess card actually covers the 5 laws of practical recall, mnemonics. The 2 pillars represent 2 of these laws by their form and color, and another by their position. You will remember easily ideas or things which, 1, are like each other, 2, are a sharp contrast to each other, and 3, are near to each other in time and space. You will be able to catalog your memories using these links. So the High Priestess does just that. The other 2 laws are for frequency, demonstrated by the repetition of the fern leaves and pomegranates on the veil. And along with frequency goes number 5, recency, or recent experiences, since we tend to recall recent experiences more readily than others. And of course, I work on this because I'm getting older. And I need to recall as much as I can. So originally, the Hebrew letter Gimel, the letter of this card, was a crude picture of a bow. This is why it comes after Beth in the Hebrew alphabet. Beth's original character was an arrowhead. In the development of weapons, the bow follows the arrow. Arrows were thrown by hand by primitive races. So, and I'll just reiterate, all the symbology of this card is down here in the lower right-hand corner of each card. Once created, the bow carried the arrow to its mark, but the bow is secondary, an implement. The bow extends the range of the arrow. So the subconscious mind, symbolized by the bow Gimel, carries your conscious desires to a successful conclusion. It's what makes your decisions hit the mark. Again, it's your delivery system, so you need to learn how to use it. And that's what the whole tarot is about. Another aspect of the Master of Darkness is propulsion. The self-conscious mind aims and steers like driving a boat or an airplane, and the subconscious mind provides the motive force. In science, this is the force that causes something to move, or in a sense, the force that induces motor action. As a symbol, the bow is feminine. The characteristics of the Master of Darkness, the subconscious mind, are naturally associated with the feminine sex. The letter Gimel in Hebrew is camel. At one time, the camel was the main means of transportation across vast distances. It was the connection between great cities, the means of commerce, of communication, and the spread of different cultures. Association is another aspect of this card. One familiar action of the subconscious mind is mind wandering. This enables us, while in a state of reverie, to pass from thought to thought until we cover a vast field of ideas. But unless we learn to control this through concentration, it's like a camel running wild. When we learn to drive it, then it will take us to any chosen goal quickly. Does this camel look like your brain sometimes when you're just, things are going left and right? Can you imagine trying to catch a camel on a desert? I saw this picture and I went, yeah, that looks like my brain sometimes when it's just free association, you know. I went from here to here to there, yeah. The letter Gimel is also said to correspond to the moon, which is a ship of the skies, just as the camel is a ship of the desert. In the brain, the moon center is the pituitary body. This center is understood by occultists to be a transmitting station through which the mental states of self-conscious mind are relayed to centers below it in the body. This is a reminder of the tree of life diagram. The three supernull at the top, spheres 1 through 3, are connected to the 7 lower spheres of manifestation via the sphere called understanding. Through the master of darkness, we have a perfect connection with all points of space. So if you remember what the tree of life looks like, it's 10 balls, and the 3 at the top are like a pyramid. So that's what we're talking about, the 3 supernulls at the top. So in the Christian religion, you have Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is the feminine. In the tree of life, you go from the Holy Spirit, and the other 7 circles of the tree of life all emanate from her. So nothing happens without her. It all of recreation, creation comes through the feminine. So this is a reminder of the tree of life diagram, the 3 supernull at the top, spheres 1, Father, through 3, Son, Holy Spirit, or you could say daughter, are connected to the 7 lower spheres of manifestation via the sphere called understanding, which is the Holy Spirit, or Bina. Through the master of darkness, we have a perfect connection with all points of space. The main point of all of this is for you to realize that your personal field of the subconscious mind is materially connected with even the most distant stars. Paul Foster Case tells us, use key 2 to stimulate your memory. Look at it. Take the hint that it gives. The high priestess sits at ease. There is no strain about her. When you wish to recall anything, relax your body and let your mind be passive. The current of associations will then flow freely. And after a little while, it will bring the desired information to the surface of your mind. Anxiety has no place here. Be calm. Let's move on to the next card on the surface below. Ruled by the master of darkness. So we're heading down here. We first visited key 15, the deceiver, on the western face. Here we find him again at west below. The letter associated with the deceiver is ayin, meaning eye or outer appearance. And the letter is this letter here, down in the lower right-hand corner of the card. The eye, as an organ of vision, has a relationship with key 4, the emperor, which represents sight. And this sense of sight is the source of much of our misfortune about our environment, misinformation about our environment. Take, for instance, optical illusions. But we are only deceived as long as we allow it. So, in Sanskrit, matter is called Maya, illusion. But what we call matter is just the appearance of what we call spirit as it takes on name and form. I will repeat that. But what we call matter is just the appearance of what we call spirit as it takes on name and form. It's an appearance. The critical error in our mind is that we try to establish a separation between matter and spirit. Never separated. How is the source manifesting today in your life? In reality, matter is just the appearance of, or you could say the extension of, spirit. It is the life power reflecting upon itself. And in order for us to comprehend and understand this, we must work through all of the trials and tribulations that are created by these material appearances and our attachments to them. Sometimes that's a little chaotic, especially when we're really attached. We learn not just how to remove ourselves and others from suffering, but the true magic is that with this wisdom, we gain the power to transmute all semblance of evil into manifestations of positive good. This is a power that both binds and liberates. It creates form with all its limitations. It also provides the path of liberation. Because remember, form is limited. And yet all it is mind. So I'm going to take, an example would you strike a match, and we've talked about that. You strike a match and it burns, and then it's just fumes. It's all burned, and there's no wood, and there's no, igniting force. It's just in space going on. And it was a match. Now you, with your ability, with your mind, can make it the match again. But that's understanding and trusting God. And Jesus spoke to the rich man who came to him, who had been so good and did everything he was supposed to do. He was kind to his parents. He took care of the poor. He paid the people on his staff fairly. He did all of these wonderful things, and Jesus was so pleased with him and said, "This is wonderful. Now sell everything and follow me." And the rich man went, "Oh, I can't do that." And he walked away. And Jesus said, "Where you place your trust is what counts. You have to trust God, not yourself, not your goods, not your money, not your anything. You have to trust God, and then everything is yours." Key 15 is a symbol of man's ignorance of the true nature of reality and his place in this reality. That's what I just told you about. It is the ignorance that is the problem, not the reality. So we're all here to learn about ourselves. When we were all born, there wasn't a little envelope that said, "These are the directions. You follow these directions and, you'll get the walking on water thing down really good in your first 5 years." We just try and walk. Oh, my baby's walking. Yes, this is great. Yeah. So then we have to move on. And it's great. It's wonderful. But it's the ignorance that's the problem, not the reality. As we evolved from the beginning of time, our initial emphasis was survival. Yeah, we observed nature, its cycles of seasons, the birth and death of various species in order to make some sense of living on this orb. Nature places the emphasis on type, not on the individual. Only the fit survive. Here we see the automatic forces of nature below the human level, and hence the idea, all you see is all there is. This was expressed in Key 10, the Wheel of Fortune on the west face, where we first entered the cube of space. Experience is gained through the objective world of appearances. So we need these experiences in order to trust God. So it's like, and you've heard me use this term, sacred chaos. Whenever chaos arrives in your life, go, oh joy, something new is going to arrive. And God's ringing my bell to let me know that something's going to happen and change. And it can be very painful, or it can be joyous. And as you move along the path, those experiences of chaos don't become as chaotic. They become less chaotic. I remember before I was consciously on the path, things would go up and down like this. Now they kind of go up and down at the top. Not so bad. It doesn't completely unglue me. As time moved on, evolution created another principle, consciousness. Consciousness is veiled by the mechanical aspects of creation. That's an interesting thought. Consciousness is veiled by the mechanical aspects of creation. That's why we have you stare at an orange, so you can get an idea of what's going on with creation. But now experience is gained through the subjective world of consciousness from within. Here we realize the significance of the material aspect of creation, of the whirling cycles of change that we live in. The combination of the material aspect of creation and the consciousness to understand it allows us to control our environment. Let's move on to the next card, called the Moon, key 18, located at the edge south below. So we're heading over here. Here we begin to process the process of organization. We are not discussing an association of human beings in various groups or societies, not that kind of organization. We are talking about, rather, we are beginning the organization of the various parts of the human body into a higher type of organism. Oh, rats, we can't leave it behind. We have to raise up the earth. This is the earth, fire, air, earth, and water, and you raise it up through your mind into a higher type of organism, because you can't do it without it. If you try and get ahead of yourself, it can be physically painful. This is not accomplished through what is spontaneously provided by the general manipulations of evolution. No, this is through the practice of the great art, as the alchemists call their work. The practical application of the principles of ageless wisdom is aimed at this change in the human organism. You become bodies of light. You can sit and you can see and you can feel, and you don't have to do it. And you get answers. And you don't have to sit with your legs crossed. You can be in the grocery store in the checkout stand and get all kinds of information and be in a complete state of relaxation and balance. This change we're now talking about is not by selection and breeding, but by the direct action of man's will and imagination upon his own vehicle of flesh and blood. Only thus is the change effected. It is also not just a consequence of personal efforts. Thank God for God, the angels, the angelics. But the personal factor is required. You will need to see, understand, and apply the principles, laws, and forces covered here in the tarot in order to transform your own body. This is called the operation of the sun. The tarot is really a cool way to study it because it's all in pictures. So it's working on your subconscious mind. And when your brain, your mind goes, I can't do this, I can't do that, the little subconscious mind is going, got it, got it. Yeah, we'll get that going. Well, we're going to burn you up and make you a light vehicle with or without you, but you know, you'll get the hang of it. Yeah, pictures, they're great. We use imagination to accomplish this, so you will need to keep your thoughts clear and definite. Your subconscious mind will build you a body that corresponds to them. You cannot just sit and hold mental images. When our images are vivid, they will impel us into courses of action that will help to bring about these changes. We are living in the age of activity. The Hebrew letter associated with key 18 is Kaf, which means back of the head. That's back here. This brings to our attention that the most important organs of the human body are located at the rear of the skull. Here we find the posterior lobe of the cerebrum, which contains the sight center. So we actually see with the backs of our heads. Sort of interesting. The tissue just below this is the medulla oblongata. It unites the brain to the spine and nervous system. It connects the higher centers of sensation, thought, and action located in the head and the subordinate centers located in the body. Gee, it sounds like the tree of life, doesn't it? We got the three up here. The medulla controls respiration, regulates the heart, and the circulation of the blood. Its functions are carried on without interruption, even while we sleep. Therefore, sleep is assigned to the Hebrew letter Kaf in the Kabbalah. Sleep is when our body regenerates, removes waste accumulated during the day from all our little cells, and our mental processes continue at subconscious levels even when the cells of the upper brain are resting. Our aspirations and efforts are built into our bodies, our organic structure while we sleep. Again, our aspirations and efforts are built into our bodies, our organic structure while we sleep. Our dominant desire is built into every cell of the body this way. Every single cell in your body has consciousness. You kind of can't get ahead of yourself. So what's tricky, which I like to do, is I set up something like saying the pattern on the trestle board before I go to sleep at night. I'm the center. I can't believe this. I'm the center of expression. Yes. Okay, Christy, read that.
I am a center of expression of the primal will to good that eternally creates and sustains the universe.
Okay, now say that before you go to sleep at night and wake up and your body's raring to go on that level. Okay, so this suggests a very important activity that you should do every day. This is the practice of retrospection, the reviewing your day's activities just before going to sleep. This shouldn't take very long. As you review your day, those things are activities that you like and you want to be part of your life. Look at and accept. Those that you don't want, toss out like the trash. Again, those that you don't want, toss out like the trash. Don't look at them and go, oh, it's so icky. Oh, I was so bad. Oh, yeah, and all that emotional garbage. Out with the trash. Do you ever go, when you take your trash out, do you get out there by the trash can and you look at it, go, oh, poor thing. Oh my God. No, you dump it. Okay, get this consciousness down pat. You got to work with God on a very practical level. Those that you don't want, toss out like the trash. Never muse too long on your failures. Don't muse on your failures at all. Just go, didn't work. Let's go over here and do something different. When you take out the trash, do you stand on the street and stare at it? Plus, do not worry. Oh God, yeah. I'm worrying for you. Worry is concentration of the negative appearances of life. Worry is concentration of the negative appearances of life. That's like, God doesn't exist. Nobody's taking care of me. Worry, worry, worry. On the other hand, if you can worry well and at length, then you possess the ability to concentrate. Yay. So if you worry all day, there's hope for you. Just kind of redirect your attention. Change the polarity of your thoughts and emotions in your daily life. Impress your subconscious mind before you fall asleep with the most positive images of good that you can fashion. Collect a few affirmations to use for this. And now let's move on to the Chariot, key 7. So we are getting around the block here. Located at the edge east below. Among the meanings of number 7 are mastery, conquest, peace, safety, security. Hence, we can expect to find in connection to the number 7 indications of power that can establish harmony, can bring order out of chaos, a power of adaptation and adjustment. That power is will. The occult conception of will is quite different than the ordinary idea of will. It's not looked upon as a personal faculty. Instead, it is a living, motivating power behind the entire universe. And every person and thing has an equal share in it. The difference between persons is not in degree of willpower as a possession. We all have access to a limitless supply. The difference is the degree of our ability to express this power through our personalities. Willpower is a universal cosmic energy, not a personal force. To think differently, to have the delusion that you have any willpower of your own, is to be in a state of bondage. Do you claim ownership of the air you breathe? No. Jesus said, I have no will save to do the will of him who sent me. Learn to be receptive to the inner guidance of the only willpower that there really is. The Hebrew letter Cheth, associated with this card, means field or fence. So if you look at this card, down here in the corner is a little fence. The implication is enclosure. In man, the field is personality, and the master of this field, the one who cultivates this field, is the inner self. Thus, the idea is that personality can be cultivated. And if your vehicle is properly prepared, then the potencies of willpower can be brought into active manifestation. This gives you an idea as to the true function and purpose of your personality and its value as the instrument of your spiritual progress. You are not your body, your emotions, or your intellect. Again, you are not your body, your emotions, or your intellect. Personality can be cultivated if your vehicle is properly prepared. Like I said, you step off the curb, you look both ways, so you don't get hit by a car, you eat good food that's healthy, you don't eat a whole lot of chemicals because there's so many chemicals in the food these days. You think positive things. You want to be on this course of becoming a mystic. There's a lot of different things required of you. It's not an intellectual thing. It actually is a transformation of your body, and the energy of your body will be transformed more readily if you've got a healthy one. And you're not going all day long and freaking out and worrying and all the rest. You can get rid of all that by, when you go to sleep at night, go, oh, I was worrying all day today. At least I have good concentration abilities, but the worry part I'm going to get rid of and keep the concentration. And then you tell that to the universe and you go to sleep and you let the universe manifest that through you the next day. You really got to get used to doing that. Then you'll start healing your neighbors. That's the next step. So a chariot is like a movable fence, a protection for its rider. Personality is a vehicle of power, an instrument through which power is made manifest. Remember that the number 7 is related to the idea expressed by the verb to vow. Dedicate yourself to an ever-increasing measure of receptivity to the influence flowing into your field of personal consciousness from within. Again, dedicate yourself to an ever-increasing measure of receptivity to the influence flowing into your field of personal consciousness from within. In the Bhagavad Gita, we read, quote, "The self is the rider in the chariot of the body, of which the senses are the horses and the mind the reins." The last card is the Hermit, key 9, found on north below. The law attributed to this key is response. The idea here is that no personal activity has its beginning, source, or origin within the limits of the personality. We all think that our thoughts and actions express purely personal motives. Personality is the mask of the true identity, and that identity is above and not limited to the conditions of personality. And always remember, above means within. The Hebrew letter Yod resembles a flame. The hermit's hat on the card is in the shape of a yod. So that's a little yod up there. That's sort of bluish green. It is a part of every Hebrew letter, thus symbolizing that the spiritual energy or flame is present in every mode of the life power's self-expression. The yod is a noun meaning the hand of man. The hand of man is able to perform its many operations because it is the seat of highly organized centers of touch. Thus, the sense of touch is assigned to the letter Yod. The hand of man is also a symbol of how the mind of man makes contact with that which is above. Note the right hand of the magician right here. He links his self-consciousness level to the superconsciousness level by raising the hollow wand with his right hand. So anything that's indicated as up is looking within. The uplifted wand represents the sublimation of the serpent power, aka the Kundalini, and that's what runs up your spine and activates all your nervous centers. This means the end of the path is reached when the personality meets the inner self in perfect contact. Okay, we've got children arriving, so we'll hang in there. Hamid is going to the door.
Oh my God!
Yes, exactly.
Happy Halloween to you.
Okay. He's handing it all out, leaving him in charge. What can I say? So, the zodiacal sign Virgo is attributed to the letter Yod. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. That is the power symbolized by the magician, self-consciousness. So this is the self-consciousness card, what I call the doer, the person who's going to do stuff. Virgo is exalted, has its highest mode of expression in Mercury. Mercury represents the life power working at the self-conscious level through the brain. Virgo's field of activity is the small intestine. Interesting, huh? Especially the upper part where food is assimilated, changed into a creamy substance called chyle or chyle, and sent to the various parts of the body through the bloodstream. With proper self-conscious direction, the finer forces present in chyle are liberated into the bloodstream, which energize the brain and nervous centers, Mercury, that function in the experience called illumination. This experience is that of conscious union with the one identity. You see a lot of light. That works out. That works out for everyone. But it's not that you just see it, it's the experience of it. And the experience of it is what you take with you, and it's sealed on you, the illumination. So it's a visceral experience of your entire body. And you can never go back once you know it. Among the highest expressions of human self-consciousness are those that control the activities of the intestinal tract. Strange but true. We do this by carefully choosing what we eat and by using the law of suggestion to release the subtle forces in child. I bless my food every time I eat. Not snacks. I go, well, that's an extension of the previous meal. We can kind of fudge a little there. But I always thank God. I first contact creation and say, hi, hello, creator. Thank you. Thank you for the bounty of the earth, for placing it before me. Bless it that it will be clean and healthy. Yeah. Get used to talking to your creator, and the creator will talk to you. This is a communication. This is not, oh, pray, oh, me, oh, I need this, I need that. No, it's a communication. It's back and forth. When you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden you get a sentence told to you, you go, oh, okay, I'll take care of that. You start to get used to it. Everything opens up. The veil starts to disappear in your life. The hermit tells us that above the merely personal level of our daily experience, there is a real presence, and now that presence is all that we aspire to be. Also, that presence is friendly and definitely helpful. Comprehend it, we may not. I would agree with that. It's uncomprehendable, but you know it's there and it's communicating with you. Touch it, we can, and as often as we remember to do so. And always remember that creation will not put you in a difficult situation, will not embarrass you, will not do anything weird. So if there's some other voice coming through to you, you can always say, stand in the light of Christ, because you don't want, because there, you know, as you move, as you become lighter, you start to enter what I call the fourth dimension. So you're at 3.5. So you do notice other things going on. And when you do, you have to be careful about them. Because just because someone doesn't have a body doesn't mean they're less weird than those of us who do. Just have to be careful. Yeah, you want to just work with the angels and the white brotherhood. So here we go. Also, that presence is friendly and definitely helpful. Anything unhelpful and unfriendly, turn and walk away. Comprehend it, we may not. Touch it, we can. And as often as we remember to do so. For only by an illusion are we separate from it. Actively present in all that we think or say or do is this one identity. The ancient of the ancient ones, the fundamental and soul will, whence all manifestation proceeds. After obtaining the wisdom of the hermit, there we are, the master of darkness returns to the center below, the domain of the high priestess. From the cube face below, the master ascends above via the axis of the cube, which is the fool. Rising up the path of the fool, you now, the master of light and the master of darkness, consciously enter the temple that dwells at the center of the cube, the realm of the world. Here you enter the seventh and final point of the cube as ascended master. The beginning has become the end. My timing is so perfect. The hour is exactly up. I was going to give you all a meditation. I did put a new meditation up. I think we will not. I think I may have glazed you over too much as it is. So, any questions? Oh, masters of light and masters of darkness, now that you've done the entire tarot.
Yeah, I have a question.
Certainly, Anne.
Okay, so you talked about being really positive and being aware of what we create and our thoughts, so positive. So would you give an example of the war in Ukraine and how that's handled in that way?
Okay, you can hover over the country in your mind and see the dark cloud that stands over it and see it dispersing and filled with light and love. That's how you deal with it. If you worry about it, you extend all sorts of fear and negativity. You see the light, you see it lifted. You see every being that's fighting on either side is a star in heaven, on earth. Each person here is a star, and you have to understand that you are a star, and that every being that's down there fighting for whatever reason, whatever reasons of all they think that all they see is all there is, because we're dealing with a mass mind of the planet Earth that is fear infused. If you put your attention on the fear, you give life to it. So you have to turn and know and trust in God, like Jesus told the rich man to not trust in his riches, but to trust in God. So hover over Ukraine if you want. See a mass of brown cloud of the density of negativity and see it dissolving. And that's that's the gift you have, because you have your knowing. Others don't know. I've told you in a very small scale, when I go for a walk, and I've brought this up in some of my classes so I know I've got an hour walk ahead of me. I'm 10 minutes into the walk with my husband and my right knee starts aching, or I get sharp pains. I go, oh, great. And I think, oh, poor knee. Okay, no, you're fine. You're perfect. You're perfect. You're fine. Look how good you are. Look at your flesh. Within 10 steps, there is no pain in my knee because I know it's perfect. You can have things and not manifest them. This is something you start to learn as you get into the work. You may have something on your skin or what, but you don't have to manifest it like as eating you, like a cancer would. Everything is mind. You have to step into knowing that. You don't fix things. You have to put your hands behind your back and be the illumined being and use your consciousness to bring peace and balance where you place your attention, and then you will have it. I've told you that when I was walking with another sister back when I was in San Diego in the order, and we were walking along the street at night, doing one of our usual walks, and across the street, there was this circle of guys outside of a hotel, and they were yelling and screaming. And she and I looked at each other, and we almost high-fived. It's really bad. And we said, oh, wow, look, something to check out. So we go to the corner, waited for the light change, crossed the street, walked back up. Large circle, there were like 30 guys. And in the midst of them were two young men with knives pointed at each other, and they were trying to stab each other. So I'm wearing clerics, she's wearing clerics, and we both just walked right through the crowd, and they separated because it didn't occur to us there was a problem. It didn't occur to us there was a problem. That's the point. We walked through happy. Oh, cool. We got something to deal with. And we went side by side, and I leaned over and looked at the kid who had one knife, and she leaned over and looked at the kid that had the other knife. And I said very quietly, what are you doing? And he went, oh, sister, you shouldn't be here. Oh my God, you shouldn't be here. Oh, this is terrible. You need to go. I mean, we're really fighting and we're having a hard time. And I have not stood up at all. I'm still leaning over going, what are you doing? And then he's rattling on. And meanwhile, the other sister's not saying anything, but we're saying it so quietly that nobody else in the crowd can hear us. And I don't think of any other way to be. I'm just looking at him. And I'm just looking at him in the eyes. And then he stands up and he goes, ah! And they throw their arms around each other. We're fine. Everything's fine. We're okay. And she and I looked at each other and went, turned, and kept going down the street. Meanwhile, people parted and they said, what did you say? What did you do? And we just ignored them all. You have to know who you are and what you are. You have to get used to knowing who you are and what you are. You have to know that when you walk in someplace, you're a light that beams and radiates. You have the power, force, and energy of creation with you. And you have to get used to knowing that. I was just a sister in the order. It never occurred to me to be any other way. But you don't flaunt it and you don't, oh, look at me. No, no. I do my Father's work. So when you see the situations on our planet Earth, because that's not the only place. That is not the only place that's at war. We must have wars going on in 20 countries right now. Really. And if you go through and worry about the mind that's putting that together, you won't get anywhere. You have to see it as light. You have to see it as everyone filled with balance and joy and peace in their lives. And when you see the clouds of darkness, you send them away. And if you are afraid during the day and something scares you or bothers you, you take a deep breath and you go, oh, why don't you go over there in the corner, Fear, and sit and build a little campfire and toast marshmallows. And I'll be back later for you. And I'll go over here and have a good time. And I'll be back. I will. Fear is one-dimensional consciousness, and you don't need to have it. And you have to learn to not have it, or you can't teach it to anybody else. And you have to learn that you don't need an organization to be in to have this contact with creation and with our Creator. You have it all on your own, all by yourself. If the whole world went to hell in a basket, you'd still be alive. Look at the stars in the sky. You would still be here fine. But we're here to help others get to that point. The illumination, the self-realization, the connection, and then they don't need us. They're fine, with or without us. Encircling the planet with light. And just see it gone. Don't focus on the injury, but focus on the perfection. Does that help, Anne?
Thank you.
You know what it's like. Remember when Patrick was baptized? Yeah, he was like another person. He was wonderful. He was like so quiet and kind of shy. And then he became this power. And he was just baptized. He was like another person. That's how the people on this planet will be. We just got to do them one at a time. And guess what? We live forever. So we've got lots of time to do this in. Just try and make it less painful. And that's what we do. We try and help people to be in less pain and less concern. And it exists. Yeah. So on that note, everyone, I hope you've all enjoyed this.
Yes.
And
Very much so.
Stop share. And here we all are. And enjoy your week. And you will all see Eli next week. And the name of his class is, let's see, where did I write this down? The Alchemical Kabbalah. Right, Eli? The Alchemical
That is correct.
Kabbalah?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. Yes, I really hope everyone will join the class. It's going to be really great. We're going to start with the cube of space, and we're going to work through the currents of the cube of space. and make it an integrated, tangible experience for each person. We'll go through some very simple, but some of the most powerful techniques for really coming into the tarot, going within, diving deeply within. And we'll start with a 6-week class, and we're going to start on the northeast edge of the cube, the Emperor, which happens to be the first sign of the zodiac. And there are currents that go around the cube. You notice the cube has 12 edges. Well, the 12 edges are the 12 keys and currents or intelligences in the book of formation, that where the cube of space comes from, that make up the zodiac. So we will follow, for 6 weeks, we'll follow the currents above, below, and around, and make our way over the course of 6 weeks with one current or card per week, and then we'll take a break. But you'll get an experience exactly what you need, and it'll be really, really special for you.
Yeah,
that's what I can say. I hope you all join.
yes, I hope everybody does too. The whole thing about the tarot is to have a experience, not just talk about it. Or I mean, I do this overview, but the experience of it is the looking at the cards. And Eli is setting up these classes, so you each will have an experience.
Yeah,
you'll
definitely get in touch with.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
go ahead.
Yeah, I asked this last week and I wasn't real clear on the answer. So to be in the class, we go through the Whom website.
again, yes, it's
Yes.
the same way to get in.
Okay.
You won't see my name there. You will see Eli's name, and we'll have a different picture there. And it'll say the Alchemical Kabbalah,
Okay.
and it will be on the same time, Monday evenings at 5 o'clock. And I'll just be an attendee. I'm not going to do anything.
Margot, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. This has been fun. And anybody who wants to go back, and of course I've recorded this, but anybody who wants to go back and start over again, because that's one of the great things about the tarot is it's like when you start over, it's like you haven't heard it before. It's yeah.
It's always like that.
It's always, because it's
no matter how long you work with it, but it's always great.
Okay, everyone, have a good week. I know we ran over a little bit, but this is wonderful, and I hope to see you all next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Also
Thanks,
welcome
Margot.
to come to the Sunday evening meditation if you ever can make it. So that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.